Hey, MJ here, looking at some pizza problems. So we're looking at different size pizzas, okay? And this is the one we used in class. If you don't know how to find area of circles, then go back one video because you're definitely going to need that. But I'm going to look at two pizzas here. So here's the Mini Papa, which is a 10-inch diameter pizza, and a Big Papa 36-inch diameter pizza, okay? And what kids will tell me is they'll say, okay, so that means that it's like 3.6 times bigger since the one is 10 diameter and the other one is 36-inch diameter, then it's 3.6 times as much pizza. So that's what we're going to look at. So I built my diameter. So whenever you see these pizzas in, even in Canada, like when they say inches, they're talking diameter. Okay, they're talking they're talking a line from circumference to circumference through the origin. Okay, they're not talking circumference, they're not talking radius, they're talking diameter. So that's what that is. Now, the one mistake kids will make is they'll look at this slices section and they'll say, well, 6 slices versus 40 slices. 40 slices is way more slices than 6 slices. And even if I ordered, 3 of these, it's still only 18 slices and blah, blah, blah. Slices is not, there's no federal officer going around like checking slices and how much area that. Slices doesn't mean anything. It's just how many times you cut a pizza. So that doesn't mean anything. Area is what matters. Okay. So that's what we're going to look at. So let's just propose that as a question. Is the 36-inch diameter pizza 3.6 times bigger than the 10-inch diameter pizza? Okay, is that true? Is that not true? Well, 10 and then 36 is 3.6 times as long. Let's find out if that's true because, again, area is what matters. So I'm going to use the pi r times r formula. If you don't like that one, you can use your own. And if you don't get how it works, again, go back one video. But let's use that one. So first thing we got to do, and a mistake a lot of kids make, and a mistake I make sometimes, is I see that 10 and I want to use that 10, okay? If I'm using pi r times r, I have to use the r. I have to use the radius. So I can't use 10. I got to use 5, and I got to use 18. So I'm just going to write those numbers underneath so that I don't forget to do that because I will, and kids do as well. Oops. So make sure that even just go ahead and mark them on here as your radiuses, radio heads. Put them in there, okay? Then you won't make that mistake. So let's go pi r times r for the Mini Papa, which is a 5-inch radius. What is pi times 5 times 5?
The answer is approximately 78.539816.
Okay, so we got 78.54 if I round up, which I will because the thousandth place is a 9. Okay, so that's inches squared. Okay, so that's for the 10-inch diameter pizza. So using the radius of 5 inches. So that means that, if we go 3 times that, it should be, what is that, 70, 140, 200, should be, 225-ish inches squared, if it's true that a 36-inch diameter pizza is 3.6 times the amount of pizza as a 10-inch diameter pizza. Let's find out if that's true. What is pi times 18 times 18?
The answer is approximately 1017.87602.
I don't know if you heard that. It's a lot more. Okay? So it is not 3.6 times the size. 78.54 all the way up to 1,000. It's over 10 times the size of the Mini Papa. Okay? So, that's maybe not very surprising, but kids will say that. They'll say, well, if it's a 10-inch diameter and it's a 36 diameter, it's like, 3.6 times the size. Not even close. Okay? It's more than 10 times the size. Okay? So a couple lessons there. Real life lesson. Number one, if you're ordering pizza, you always want bigger diameter if you can get it, depending on the price, obviously. And if you're going to eat it, obviously. But more diameter adds way more pizza. Okay? Adding just a little bit of diameter is going to add a ton of pizza because you're adding all that area because, it gets multiplied by the radius again and by pi. So it's going to be a lot more. Okay? But yeah, and also don't use diameters to compare things. Okay, if we're looking at area, we got to look at area. Okay. Okay. Second question. So let's say now that the problem is okay. Now we know the area of those two pizzas. So we know the Mini Papas and we know the Big Papas. We know how much they cost. So let's say the question is it better to get 4? Should we do 4? No, let's do. Is it better to get? Well, it's $6.99, so it's like $7, 45. 7, 14, 28. Let's say, is it better to get 6? Okay. Is it better to get 6 mini papas or 1 big papa? Okay. So we've introduced a new question here. Let's keep those numbers because we're going to use those areas. Okay. So 6 mini papas versus 1 big papa, which is a better deal. Okay. So more pizza per dollar. Okay. So we know how much the big papa is. It's 1,017.88 inches squared, and it costs $44.99. Okay, and that's just on the menu there, right here. So now we're going to get 6 mini papas, and we know how big they are. They're 78.54 inches squared. Okay, so let's multiply that by 6 since we're ordering 6 pizzas. What is 78.54 times 6?
The answer is 471.24.
Okay, so it's definitely less pizza. It's less than half the pizza, but the price is going to be less. So let's go $6.99 times 6 to find its price because the mini papa, as you can see right there, is $6.99. What is 6.99 times 6?
The answer is 41.94.
Okay, so it's cost a little bit less, but you only get half the pizza. So it's still, the Big Papa is still a much better deal, okay? And I'm going to show you one more thing in a second, but that's another little lesson. When you're ordering, if you want to order multiple pizzas, like you're like, oh, we'll get 2 mediums instead of an extra large or whatever, probably the bigger diameter pizza is still going to be the better deal. Okay, again, depending on what you're ordering, like maybe somebody's gluten-free and somebody's can't eat dairy and you have to have 2 pizzas or whatever, like whatever. But if you're just looking to get a whole whack of pizza for a party or something, you almost always want to go the biggest size because people can't do math, okay? And they see like, oh, wow, 36-inch diameter pizza, but that's a lot of money. I don't know if I want to spend $44.98. I'll just get a whole bunch of mini papas instead. Well, like, okay, so you get 6 mini papas, which seems like a lot of pizza because they're 10-inch diameter. That's like 60 inches diameter, okay? Compared to 36-inch diameter, that's nothing. Well, no, you're getting like half the pizza for almost the same price, okay? So you always almost want to go biggest diameter possible because that gives you way more area, okay? Next thing though, I'm going to change colors for this part. This is something you're going to have to do in the test where you're going to compare the price. So the answer to the question just to a human being is get the bigger pizza, you get double the pizza, and it's almost the same price. Like that's just English, okay? But math is I want to know how much each pizza costs sort of per dollar. So what you do is you take these numbers and you're going to divide them. So I can just go ahead and add a little fraction line right there. Okay, and when you divide them, you're going to get inches squared per dollar. I should add my unit here, okay? You're going to get inches squared per dollar. So if I divide those, that's what it's going to tell me, okay? So I'm going to do that right now. What is 471.24 divided by 41.94?
The answer is approximately 11.236052.
Okay, oops. So I'm getting that, 11.24. And that doesn't mean $11.24 or something. That's inches squared per dollar. Okay? In other words, for every dollar I spend, I'm going to get 11.24 inches squared of pizza. Okay, now let's do it for the other side. What is 1,017.88 divided by 44.99?
The answer is approximately 22.624583.
Okay, and again, that's not dollars, that's inches squared per dollar. So I'm getting about, double. I'm doubling up my pizza per dollar. And that's kind of what we could tell in advance, just by looking at these numbers without doing sort of additional math. But I will want these numbers on the test that show me exactly how much pizza per dollar or how much pie or how much whatever circular thing you're getting, right, or per dollar, okay? And that's what that last bit does. You divide the area by the dollars, and that tells you inches squared per dollars. If you did it the other way, you would get how many dollars you spend per inches squared. It's going to be like a number of cents. It's going to be, you could still use that number mathematically, but it's not it doesn't make as much sense sort of, at least in my brain, which doesn't work that well anyways, okay? But there you go. So make sure you take a look at this video and you understand how to do that and challenge yourself with a couple. Is it better to get a large or 2 mediums? Is it better to get a big mama or 2 extra larges? Like challenge yourself and see if you can come up with some challenges that sort of make sense and come up with the inches per dollar number. All right? Deuces.